All right, everybody, we're back. Brand new Cabral Concept. Today, we're going to be talking about nutrition and nutrients in your food. Believe it or not, and I'm sure you're not going to see this in the news or on the media, but the decline in nutrition in our food has gone down dramatically over the past 50 to 70 years, specifically after the year 1950. I'm going to share with you exactly why and how much at a minimum it's gone down. So there was an almost 50-year study, 49-year study that was done, and I'm going to link it up for you, of course, here today. Journal of American College of Nutrition, changes in USDA food consumption data for 43 garden crops from 1950 to 1999. Here's what they found. That, and I want to give credit where credit's due, so we'll talk about that. But there is way less nutrition in your food today. That means your fruits and your veggies than there was back 70 years ago. It's nowhere near the amount of nutrition. I'm going to share with you exactly how much. So the nutrient density of the foods has gone down dramatically. Here's the thing. In the media, they will bring on dietitians. They'll bring on PhDs in nutrition. Anybody who shares their side, and they'll say, there's no difference between organic and conventional. There's no difference between food here today or GMO food and there was back in 1950. And here's why. They are right? But it's always twisted. They're right when you look at the macronutrients. Macronutrients. What is that? The carbohydrates, the fats, and the protein. Those remain the same because the food itself is still the same. So an apple that weighs 4 ounces is still an apple that weighs 4 ounces. It's predominantly carbohydrates. It's going to have basically the same amount of carbohydrates that it's always had. So what does change? The micronutrients. The micronutrients change from conventional farming and organic-based food. The soil is different. If the soil is different, the nutrition in that food is different. Now, you can look at nutrition as just protein, carbs, and fat, which a lot of people do if it's just like, hey, if it fits your macros, it fits your macros. But people that are looking at health and longevity, they actually care about the micronutrients. They realize it's not just the calories, but the nutrition they're getting from the food, and that includes the vitamins and minerals. So here's what the study found. That due to increased crop yield and not allowing these fields to be fertilized by like the cows coming through and the manure there refertilizing the soil, since that's not happening, they're no longer using that 3-field system. Think about it. Be planting in 2 fields and you'd have crops, and then 1 field would stay barren, like they would not be growing crops there. And the cows would come in and maybe they would graze or whatever that might be there. But manure would start to then add minerals. It would start to fertilize the soil. The bacteria would start to grow and help with the uptake of these nutrients into the produce. But what happens is when you're always planting, it is depleting the soil over time. So this study ended in 1999. And then a landmark study analyzing the 49 years of data was done in 2004 at the University of Texas at Austin by a researcher who's the head researcher. I'm sure there are many other people in the team. And his name was Donald Davis. So it's often referred to as the Donald Davis study. Now, the Donald Davis study, they analyzed the data from the previous 49 years leading up to the year 2000. So if you think about it, well, it's 25 years later. Have the micronutrients improved? No, they're going to be even lower, right? I'm theorizing, but they're most likely going to be much lower. And the reason is we have another 25 years. We have another 50% of what this study was done. So let me just share with you the stats. And then if we extrapolate, we might say, wow, these numbers might even be 50% greater. So let's go through a few of these. They did 43 crops. I'm going to give you like 5 or 6 different main nutrients that dropped. Over these 43 different crops, the produce, they found that calcium levels in these 43 foods on average dropped 16%. Pretty wild, right? If we were to add 50% more to that, what would we get? 24% decrease. So about a quarter. All right, iron levels in these crops dropped 15%. I want to add another 7.5% for 50% more? Again, maybe. I don't know, but maybe. And when we look at that, 22%, 22.5%, right? So if we just look at calcium and iron for a second, what do men and women need? But especially, what do women need for healthy, strong bones? More calcium. What do women need from around the age, call it 13, 14, 15 years old to about 50 years old, 55 years old? More iron, right? If a woman is menstruating, she's going to most likely need more iron in her diet, or she may be functionally anemic. We see that all the time in our practice. All right, vitamin C levels dropped 20%. So 20 to 30% drop in vitamin C. Think vitamin C is important? Well, it's, people always like to give credit to the, I'll be talking about tomorrow, like the astaxanthins or the vitamin E or all these other stronger antioxidants. They're all amazing. Don't get me wrong. The anthocyanins, the polyphenols, the oleic acid and olive oil, they're all amazing. But think about it. Vitamin C is the nutrient that we need for a healthy heart, good blood pressure, detoxification, recycling of all of these other antioxidants. So it's vital. And if we're down 20 to 30% in crops, it's unbelievable. All right, a couple more. Phosphorus. Phosphorus is kind of important for the bones, kind of important for the muscles, right? For the body, down 9%. Okay, so anywhere from 9 to call it 15%, 14%. All right, phosphorus levels. Vitamin B2, the largest drop they found. Vitamin B2, riboflavin. What is it needed for? Energy. Conversion of carbohydrates to energy, right? Overall vitality. Vitamin B2 is also used in certain neurotransmitter production for mood. So crucial, right? All right, down 38%. What's half of that? What is half of that? About 19 or so? I don't know. I hate to do math on a podcast, right? But somewhere around 19. So let's make it easy. Let's just add 20. What do we get? 58 minus 1, 57. Could be down 57%. It's unbelievable. All right. The last one I want to share with you is protein. Now, again, I know we're talking about produce. I know we're talking about crops. But if you think about it, well, a cup of broccoli has 4 grams or so of protein, right? So what are we looking at? A drop of 6% in protein, maybe up to 9%. That's significant. Now, these might not seem like huge numbers to you, but think about it. That's across all of the produce that you're eating. Let me put it a different way. Healthy human beings, the best longevity science we have as an anti-cancer diet is to eat about 7 to 9 servings of brightly colored things per day. Okay? Fruits and or veggies. Veggies and or fruit. However you want to look at it, right? Okay. Now think about it. Every single one of those, let's call them 7 foods a day, are down what? 10, 15, 20%. So it's no big deal if it was just one food and it was just for one day. No, it's the 7 times a day that you're eating those, or the 7 servings a day. So now when you look at the multiples, you're missing 1.5 servings a day it's down by. So it really does add up over time. And you might say, okay, for a day, I'm down a serving and a half, even though I'm trying to do my best in micronutrients. But think about that. That's one day. Think about that extrapolated over 365 days of the year. How much further we're down. So for me, this is, this is the business of big pharma, big farms, big agro, whatever you want to call it, of just putting profits before people. Because if you put people before profits, you'd actually care about soil quality. But since you can still produce something that looks like an apple or broccoli or asparagus or bok choy, it still looks the same, right? So if it looks the same, although I will tell you, you go to a local farm and you look at their Swiss chard versus conventional, night and day. You'll never go back. You're that's what that looks like. The carrots are brighter. It's just different. An organic farm that's really using good soil. The soil is, it's dark, it's rich. You can tell the difference with real soil. The problem is, if the soil doesn't start with the nutrients and the real bacteria isn't there because they're using so many pesticides and herbicides, you can't get the uptake of the nutrients, even if it was there, into the products itself. So my biggest recommendation, go to your local farmers markets. purchase from the organic, ideally local-based farmers. If they're not organic, but they practice organic farming and they're working towards the certification and all that, help support them, right? No doubt about that. Just make sure that they're not using the conventional sprays on their crops, that it's healthy for you, that obviously you're doing the right thing for your family. So that's my recommendation. Try to move towards more local organic produce. Trust me, you'll begin to recognize the difference whether you're in the supermarket or not. And then also just fill in your nutritional gaps with something simple. Just a daily nutritional support shake you can do each day, or a daily activated multi. 2 capsules at breakfast, 2 at dinner. It just brings all of those nutrients back in, so you make sure that you're getting, it's basically a fail safe. You're getting 100% of your RDA every single day. So the company that I use, that I formulate for, is Equilife. You can just go to StephenCabral.com/shop, check out Equilife, but also you don't need to purchase from there. Just look at the ingredients. You can purchase from anybody you want. I'm totally fine with that, but I like to open source this. Look at what you need for your body, but also food always comes first, right? So you can't just supplement your way out of a bad diet. You need to make sure that you're starting with good, clean nutrition. So yes, get your good protein in, no doubt about that. Get some healthy fats from avocados and olive oil, but also don't forget the 7 to 9 servings of brightly colored fruits and veggies. Again, like I said, local farmers markets, try to get them local, try to get them organic. The soil quality does matter. Hopefully this was helpful. As always, if it was, do feel free to share it with anyone you believe it could serve. And the URL today with all the big takeaways will be at StephenCabral.com/3323. And yes, I will link up these clinical studies. Take care. Thanks so much for tuning into today's show. Before you go, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I want to make sure that you're getting our daily content, not missing out on anything. Functional medicine, wellness, weight gain, weight loss, anti-aging, living longer, stronger, and all of the most cutting-edge research. And if there's any topics you want to hear, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Take care.